okay, we're going to go to the whiteboard and we'll do this problem here. I'll write it down and I'll write down what we're looking for, okay? So let me go to the whiteboard. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to write it down. And I'm going to write Sn down. That's the nth partial sum. And let's write this over here. So 1, that's 2 times 5, plus, by the way, this is A1. 1 over 3 times 10, plus 1 over 4 times 15. I'm going to say plus yada, 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 but I want to end at an. I'll surely know there's a 1 there. All right, let's look at this over here. So I'm looking at just this factor here. I always say chase one rabbit at a time. That's going up by 1. So it has something to do with n. Now if I look at it, I'm going to say it's n plus 1. Now why is that? It's 2, so if it's n plus 1, if we're at 1 would be 2, then it'd be 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at this guy. Much more difficult, by the way. It's 5, 10, 15. That has something to do with 5n. And it looks exactly like that. It looks like 5n. Like if it's 1, it would be 5. If it was 2, it's 10, so forth and so on. All right, so I know what an is. I'll write this down for you. An is equal to 1 over 5n, n plus 1. All right? I'm going to split it up using partial fractions. So I'm going to say this is equal to, we got to be careful here, don't I? You know what I want to do? I just want to do the partial fraction, this one over here. And by the way, I know that's 1/5 of it, but I just want to do this one. It's easier for me to do that. So it's going to be a over n plus b over n plus 1. And what do you get there? You get 1 equals a, n plus 1 plus b times n. I'm going to pick an easy n. I'll pick n to be 0. You would get 1. You would get a, so a is 1. The b disappears, right? I'll get my eraser out, and I'll write that down for you. Let's get the b now. How do I get the b? Well, I'm going to pick n to be minus 1 now. And you get 1 on the left side, and the right side you just get minus b. So what's b going to be? B is going to be minus 1. Let me write that down for you. All right? So let's go up here. It's going to be 1/5 times 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1. That's what an is. All right, let me get my eraser out. I think I'm okay with that. And including if I made a mistake, I'm okay with it. I'll know that by when I look at the answer key. All right? So what I want to do is, I'm starting to realize that, you know, an is this thing over here. Let me make sure you're clear on that. So an is just 1/5, 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1. All right, that's what an is. Let me erase this up here. I don't need this anymore. So what I want to do is I want to write the terms down for Sn now. Well, it's going to be 1/5. Like every term has 1/5 in it, right? Let's just put down A1, this term over here. What would you get? 1 over 1 minus 1 over 2. Let's put the next term down, which is A2, plus 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3. Let's put the next term down. Well, 1 over 3 minus 1 over 4. Right? I got a generalized pattern for this, and you could go on and on and on, but I'll just do this, dot, dot, dot. And I can put the last 3 terms down now. And what I want to do is, I'll put the last term down, which is 1 over n minus 1 over n plus 1. Right? I'm just putting that down. And what do I do? Instead of going forward, I'm going backwards now, so they're going down by 1. So it's going to be 1 over n minus 1. This is 1 over n minus 2. What goes over here? Minus 1 over n minus 1 over n minus 1. Well, what am I expecting to see? I'm expecting to see a collapse in the problem. And that can be difficult sometimes. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But let's look at this. disappears, disappears. I hope you realize, you know, written down disappears. This guy would make this one disappear. Everything in the center disappears. This disappears. This disappears. And what are we left off with? Let's write it down. We're left off with 1/5, 1 over 1, and then look at all these things crossed off, minus 1 over n plus 1. All right, I'm going to claim Sn is equal to 1/5, 1 minus 1 over n plus 1. Well, you know what? I like that look at that answer, but I realize that maybe I simplified it in the notes. I can't remember. The prior problem I did that, by the way, is comes down to n plus 1. And then we get n plus 1 minus 1, which is just n. All right, you can write down that way as well. Now, what do I want to do? I take the limit as n goes to infinity of Sn, and that's going to be equal to S infinity. Let's write this down. This is going to be the limit as n goes to infinity. I'll write this down, 1/5, 1 minus 1 over n plus 1. Well, I hope you realize that second term, 1 over n plus 1, as n goes to infinity goes to 0, so I'm left off with 1/5. Let's look at the key, see how we did. Let me see if I got the term. All right, did I get an? Whoops, I'm sorry about that. I'm looking at the key. I got an 1/5, 1 over n. Yep. Did I get Sn? And by the way, Sn, did I get Sn? This is Sn. Let's see what they got written down. Yeah, they got them both written down. They got this one written down, and they have this one written down. All right, this is good. Did I get S infinity? 1/5. I'm doing okay. This is good news. Thank you.